story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour with me, Sabena Izuku. Ayodele Fayoshe has been sworn in as the governor of Ekiti State alongside Olubunmi Olushola, his deputy governor. The event was well attended by the hierarchy of the PDP led by its national chairman, Adamu Muazu, and the PDP Governors Forum led by Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio. The newly elected governor thanked Ekiti indigents who attended in their thousands for their mandate and promised to bring prosperity to the people. Former head of state Muhammadu Buhari has picked up the presidential nomination form of the All Progressive Congress. This comes barely 24 hours after declaring his ambition to seek his party's no to challenge President Goodluck Jonathan in next year's election. And contrary to widely held view that he may not be able to afford 27.5 million naira nomination fee, Buhari said the money came from his account. He later explained that he has always been self-reliant, so he was never going to depend on anyone to help pay for the nomination form. Okupe on the presidency insists that President Goodluck Jonathan will be seeking re-election in 2015, contrary to an online reports of a tenure elongation plan. He also does not seem bothered that former head of state Muhammadu Buhari may pose a threat to the president's second-term ambition. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs Doyin Okupe told State House correspondents that his principal is prepared to contest against those he described as serial failures.
That when you have a sitting president and he is interested in a rerun, usually he's given the first the first choice of refusal, and the president is here to make public his desire. But this news from Sahara reporters is absolutely untrue. It is falsehood, and we deny it in all its entirety. It is aimed at, is part of the calculated attempt by the opposition to try and throw everything into the arena to embarrass this president. They've done this for the past 4 years. It has not worked. It has not deterred him. He has remained, focused. He has kept his eye on the ball, and the transformation agenda to the glory of God has become a grand success. Their declaration, our participation, is not a threat to us. They have never won elections before. Somebody who has contested 4 times and failed 4 times, for instance, what is Buhari going to tell Nigerians now? What's the new thing? He was the former head of state, a military head of state, but that's all he has done. But since then and now, what is the new thing he has acquired? What is the new thing, the new story? You cannot compare I will do with I have done. It's not possible.
Nigeria's largest opposition party, the All Progressive Congress, has laughed off the president and claims that the party two leading presidential aspirants are serial losers. The party chairman, John Odigye Oyegun, told journalists shortly after Muhammadu Buhari had picked up his nomination form at the AP Secretariat in Abuja that the 2015 will be different. He insisted that the People's Democratic Party will be faced with its biggest challenge since 1999, regardless of whoever ends up flying the party's flag next year. The Federal Executive Council has held a valedictory session for 7 ministers who are eyeing governorship positions in their respective states. At the session, President Goodluck Jonathan reeled out the names of ministers he expects to leave the cabinet before his October 20th deadline, even though none of them had turned in their resignation letters. He explained that the cabinet members led by Information Minister Labaran Maku have all informally indicated their intentions to seek governorship seats.
So 7 of us may not be here next week, Wednesday, to continue deliberation with us, if their plans continue. But we may not say they are not with us until they formally write to us through the Secretary of Government. As we are talking now, nobody has written, and we are not dropping anybody. So people should not say we have dropped ministers. No, we have not dropped any ministers. They are still members of council. But assuming between now and next Wednesday, if they decide to go on with their plans, then they may not be with us. It's only proper for us to at least wish them well, assuming we don't see them again. But if they change their minds, they will continue, they will be with us. But after receiving the letter and they change their mind, it will be too late. So if they have to change their mind, they have to change their mind before sending the letter to the Secretary of Government. And so the following Honorable Minister of Information, Labran Marco, may not be with us next Wednesday. Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, may not be with us. Honorable Minister of State Education, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, may not be with us. Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Samuel Otom, may not be with us. Honorable Minister of Defense, Senator Musliu Olatunde Obanikoro, may not be with us. Honorable Minister of State Defense, Honorable Minister of State, Niger Delta Affairs, Architect Darius Dixon Shaku, may not be with us. Then Honorable Minister of Labor and Productivity, Chief Emeka Wogo, may not be with us. I say may because they may change their mind.
All of us here who have been named by you as people who may not be here by Wednesday, owe God Almighty eternal gratitude for connecting us with you, which has led to our elevation to serve at this highest level of executive authority in our country. For me and Chukwu and a few others who have been here with you for the last 1.5 years in these hallowed chambers, going through all the experiences you have gone through as the leader of this country so far. Let me say on behalf of ourselves and our families, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you eternally for the confidence you repose in us and for choosing us among millions of Nigerians to support you in the capacities we have been in the last 1.5 years, some shorter than that. I mentioned something here last week when we were discussing the Ebola virus disease conquest by you and your leadership. That you may not be appreciated now, but sir, don't worry. A time is going to come when this country will celebrate you, because from all we have seen, the experiences we have gone through, and the talent you have shown as a leader, it is very, very clear that God brought you purposely to stabilize this country and to give us a new direction out of a crisis of several years.
President Goodluck Jonathan has found out the poor working relations between some ministers and the permanent secretaries of the Federal Civil Service. He advised the officials to close ranks in order for the government to function properly. The president noted that the complaints of cold relationships between the political and administrative heads of ministries, agencies and departments were too many to be ignored. Jonathan spoke while swearing in 6 new federal permanent secretaries before the commencement of the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja.
Listening to your brief citations, definitely you've passed through the training process, and we believe very sincerely that you will do a very good job for the country. I think the key thing that will get worried about the civil service and government generally is the issue of discipline and impunity. These days, you hardly see a permanent secretary querying a director, or a director querying a assistant director querying a principal officer, or a principal officer querying a senior officers or officers. And in a system where there is no discipline, definitely you cannot get the best output. You can't assume that everybody will do the right thing. Filtration passes through a process, and we must be able to bring discipline to bear in the service if we must give our country the best. One of the other things is the ability of PAMSECs working with their ministers. Lately, we've received too many complaints about cool relationship between permanent secretaries and ministers. If permanent secretaries don't work with the ministers, ministers don't work with the permanent secretaries, there's no way we can do what we're expected to do.
The Adamawa State Governor Balai James Ingilari has sworn in the newly appointed Secretary to the State Government, Ibrahim Andrew Welye, along the Acting Auditor General of the state. The ceremony, which was conducted by the Acting Chief Judge, Ishaya Banu, attracted top government functionaries.
Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will be faithful. That I will be faithful. And bear true allegiance. And bear true allegiance. To the Federal Republic of Nigeria. To the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that I will preserve. And that I will preserve. Protect. Protect. And defend the Constitution. And defend the Constitution. Of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1999 as amended. 1999 as amended. So help me God. So help me God.
Ingilari says the newly sworn-in stood by him through thick and thin, and that they deserve the appointment because they are proven professionals.
They are not only Adamawa State citizens, but they are Adamawa State citizens of whom we can always be proud at any time. I just speak for the heart of it. There are people I've known for quite some time now, particularly since I came here. They are men of character, integrity, and excellence. I've no doubt in my mind that each and every one of them deserve.
In his response, the new secretary to the state government says the governor has shown so much confidence in the ability to deliver and promised to do everything possible to move the state forward.
He has a lot of faith in us, and that is what I'm afraid of. He believes that we can perform. For that, I will only say, may God help us to perform. His Excellency has a passion, a great passion for changing the lot of the people of Adamawa State.
The Lagos State PDP has formally recognized the existence of a Local Council Development Area LCDA structures in the state as it met with members questioning the LCDA officials. The meeting, which was chaired by the party state chairman Tunji Shell as its state secretariat, also had in attendance prominent members of the state executive and party chieftains. The christening of the party's LCDA officials is now a confirmation that the Lagos State PDP has recognized the existence of the LCDA structures. It will be recalled that the state chapter of the party had boycotted elections into the LCDA, but in 2011 participated in the said elections. The party has always insisted that the LCDAs were not recognized under the Constitution. Speaking on the development, the state chairman confirmed that as plans to win the state in 2015, it was unavoidable to participate in identifying the LCDA structures. The political expediency in the state dictates that we must also devolve our mobilization to the LCDAs. He says the APC can no longer blackmail them about being opposed to the creation of more councils in the state. At the event, the party urged the LCDA chairman to be committed and choose acrimony with the LGA, the local government area chairman, to make possible the motives and objectives of the creation. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the CoreTV News on the Hour continues. Stay with us.
Glad to have you join us another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
They gave me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
To anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. You can also reach us on a social platform for information on facebook.com/CoreTV News and on Twitter, twitter.com/CoreTV News NG, and on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV News, leave a space and the news. "59 soldiers have pleaded not guilty to mutiny charges before a court-martial in Abuja. The soldiers are all members of the 111th Special Forces Battalion who allegedly refused to go to the front lines in Borno State to confront the Boko Haram insurgents. According to the charge sheets, they are specifically accused of refusing to be deployed in August to recapture the town of Yewa, Belabulini and Dambo from Boko Haram. Prosecutor Joseph Nwonsu had told the court he had enough evidence against the accused soldiers, but defense counsel Femi Falana told the court that there was no evidence to back up the charges. He added he was out to prove that the soldiers should not have been brought to trial in the first place. The court-martial sessions continues on Thursday. Nigerian authorities plan to honor soldiers involved in the ongoing war against insurgencies at next year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. Defense Minister Aliyu Gusau, who disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja, said it will be a special one because it coincided with the country's greatest security challenges in the recent times. He explained that it would also provide an opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices made by military personnel for the peace in the country.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration 2015 with the theme Appreciating the Nigerian Armed Forces is a special one because it coincides with Nigeria's greatest security challenges in recent times. It is therefore appropriate to specially appreciate the commitment of our personnel that are paying the supreme price in confronting our security challenges so that we can live in peace. The contribution of the officers, men and the women of the armed forces towards the return of peace to troubled spots in our country cannot be overemphasized. The nation remains eternally grateful to these gallant Nigerians. The Remembrance Day period is therefore time to reach out to the loved ones the fallen heroes have left behind and those who have been incapacitated in order to contribute toward rehabilitating them. The federal government of Nigeria looks forward towards to our dear citizens in both public and the private sectors to appreciate the courage and the patriotism of these service personnel and support them generously.
The House of Representatives has endorsed 17 new amendments to the 1999 Constitution. This was after the conference report of a joint committee of the Senate and the House of Representatives was tabled for adoption. The motion was moved by Deputy Speaker Emeka Ihedioha, who doubles as the chairman, House Committee on Constitution Review, and unanimously adopted by the lawmakers. Out of 261 members present in the chambers, 252 voted to adopt the report, 8 voted against, while 1 member abstained. Speaker Aminu Tambowa, who presided over the session, observed that the House had met the constitutional requirement of the two-thirds majority of members needed to amend the Constitution. The World Bank talks the federal government to increase its fiscal buffers by raising the excess crude account from $4.1 billion to $6.3 billion. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, made the disclosure at the end of 2014 annual meeting in Washington, D.C. She said the federal government is looking on how to strengthen the buffers. One of them is to get resources, which the government is not planning to do. Other options are revenue plans, which the Federal Inland Revenue Services, backed by the McKinsey, to help strengthen capacity to improve audits and plug leakages by targeting 75 billion naira. Although 44 billion naira was realized in July, the other is expenditure plans. However, the uncertainty of the global economy and the drop in global oil price, the economy is expected to grow at 3.8% in 2015. After the break, U.S. health officials have sickened 132 people who flew on the plane with a nurse. That's after the break. Stay with us.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Welcome back. U.S. health officials are seeking 132 people who flew on a plane with a Texas nurse on the day before she came down with symptoms of Ebola. The nurse, second person to catch Ebola in the U.S., became ill on Tuesday. Both she and the nurse, Nina Farm, 26, had treated librarian Thomas Eric Duncan, who died on the 8th of October in Dallas. Meanwhile, the UN Ebola mission chief says the world has fallen behind in the race to contain the virus, which has killed more than 4,000 in West Africa. On Wednesday, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, said it wanted to interview the passengers on the Frontier Airlines flight 1143 from Cleveland, Ohio to Dallas, Texas on the 13th of October. It said it was taking the measures because of the proximity in time between the evening flight and the first report of illness the following morning. And that's it on the news, and I'll do join me at the top of the hour for more. I am Sabena Izoku, and thank you very much indeed for watching.